If Mary Harriman and Suzanne Plihcik had been contemporaries, they certainly would have found a way to form a relationship with one another. Just as Mary Harriman was a leader among her friends, Suzanne has challenged and continues to challenge the way we address problems in our community and beyond. Many years ago, Suzanne distinguished herself as a community volunteer, but she continued to question the traditional problem-solving approach in Greensboro. As she explains, we have the habit of asking why one time and quickly creating a solution. Suzanne advocates for change at a root cause level. Without systemic change, she believes we are destined to fall short in our work as direct service providers. Just as Mary Harriman believed that a group of women could bring their influence and energy to the settlement movement, Suzanne believes that we can all influence public policy by learning about the racial bias that impacts all systems, the achievement gap in education, disparate outcome in healthcare, and differences in law enforcement interaction. Suzanne guides others to address racism as the root cause of many issues facing our community. As Mary Harriman needed to learn more about the plight of immigrants to America, she sought experts to speak to her newly formed organization. Mary Harriman and Suzanne Plihcik share this need for learning about issues. Suzanne says, the ability to learn is a gift like no other.
You know, it was the most wonderful time of my life. It was camaraderie, it was friendship, it was being a part of something bigger than you were. My friends then were from across the country. I still meet every year, sometimes twice a year, with a group of us who were very close, who became very close. We have been there through all our children's weddings, through the birth of all our grandchildren. That has been, lasting friendship, just lasting friendship. People very like-minded. It's marvelous because so many of those women with whom I remain close are doing the kind of similar things. They did so many important things in their communities, and that's been a gift. I mean, that's just been a gift to have that lasting long-term friendship. The association board also, at the time, we had an office in Washington. We had a lobbyist in Washington. You know, we were on the Hill when the Americans with Disability Act passed. We were on the Hill for the Civil Rights Restoration Act. Those were exciting times doing important work. We testified before Congress often then. And that has impacted me greatly. I've really, through that work, through that public policy work, and seeing the difference that organizations can make in those public policy initiatives, really took me to the next place of that. It really took me to the work I do today, without question, without question. I am a community organizer and racial equity trainer. I am partner in the Racial Equity Institute, which is a training and organizing organization. Actually, it's a partnership. It's a for-profit partnership. And we work across the United States with groups that want to impact racial inequity, either in their organization or in their community. And so we work with everybody from police to departments of social services to small nonprofit organizations to civic groups or to local organizers, people who've just come together to impact their community, who say that it's really not okay that children of color have the outcomes that they have today.
Suzanne Plihcik is a very loyal friend. She is someone that has high standards and high principles. She is uncompromising. She is very diligent and very patient and very no-nonsense about what she believes in.
There are visionaries among us all the time. They're often not heard. And it's important to hear them and to seek them out. There are probably some right now in the league.
I met Suzanne in the early 2000s, and Suzanne was a part of the Partnership Project. And it was a local nonprofit organization here that was doing the work organizing for the Undoing Racism workshops that were being held at the time. And I was recruited by Suzanne's colleague, Nettie Code, to go to the workshop. I was a human relations commissioner. I was not excited about going to the workshop. I thought I was, just someone who was very aware of racial issues, thought I was doing some level of the work. And so I went out of respect for Nettie, who really wanted me to go. Suzanne was one of my trainers, and she remembers my hesitancy and, maybe a little attitude that I came in the room with. And so that's how we got together, that she was the trainer in the training that I was hesitant to go to. And I stuck with it. I just kept coming back. It just changed my life in such profound ways, and I wanted to go through it again. I wanted to hear it again. And it just resonated with me in a way. And so I hung out, and we continued to work together and organize and show up at the same meetings over and over again. And then
If you're not getting pushback, you're not doing anything.
someone like Suzanne, there's a particular prototype of older white people in this movement, and Suzanne's not one of them. As a matter of fact, we use her position with the Junior League in our workshop. And, we often say, Suzanne's a former past president of the International Junior League, and she looks like it. and she's not the type of person, that's not the type of sort of history and background that you see doing justice work at that level, the grassroots and the grass tops level. Suzanne is such a gift to this work. She's such a gift to this community. She has made enormous sacrifices to do what she does. I have heard some of her friends say that I don't know if I could sacrifice what she sacrificed. I don't know if I could pay the social and civic cost, the distancing that's occurred because of the position that Suzanne has taken. And she gives people some leadership. She gives people someone to look up to, and to be able to follow. And without that leadership, there's a big vacuum, there's a big hole in this work for justice and for equity and access. Greensboro has an interesting history, and I think most cities and most states like to highlight and lift up their recent efforts to be inclusive. What we don't often do is look at our history of being exclusive. And since our origins, since in the 1800s that Greensboro struggled with race like our country did, and that went on for more than a century and a half. And so what I would say about our city and how it mirrors the rest of the United States is that we have a much longer history of racial conflict and racial struggle than we do of racial inclusion and embracing that.
Well, I think one of the main qualities that Suzanne brings to leadership is her ability to sit back quietly while people express their opinions, have a room that's open for anybody to say what they need to say, but then she will step in with a very cogent, pulled together analysis and bring out the important points. I can only say that if I could do half of what Suzanne's done to improve our community and to bring an anti-racism analysis to people in our community, I would feel successful.
I find that there are lots of people who are animated around issues, but the way in which they give and connect and commit to those issues is to the degree that they can remain comfortable inside of who they are. I would say especially impressed that Suzanne has allowed herself to become uncomfortable, and what one author, Margaret Wheatley, would say, willing to be so disturbed by this issue that she has in some of the most significant ways that we could speak of committed her energy, committed her time, and committed her talents to this.
Suzanne says she would not be where she is today without the Junior League of Greensboro and AJLI.
Suzanne embodies the mission of the Junior League of Greensboro. She is really, truly a change agent for our community. We are grateful to have her in our community as a leader, in our state, and in our country. Suzanne truly embodies what the Mary Harriman Award is. We are so thrilled that she's being honored.
I have a lot of faith in the league and in women. And I don't think we have experienced a time in the world where women's leadership was more needed than it is right now.